We are talking Cavs Warriors. The NBA released its 2-minute report, Kenyon, for the Christmas Day matchup. Some calls were missed, in particular 2 key calls that should have been in Golden State's favor. LeBron James hung on the rim, should have been whistled for a tech.
That ain't even hanging.
Oh, well.
That's swinging.
Richard Jefferson tripped Kevin Durant on the final play. Should have been called for a foul. As KD said, I didn't fall by myself. Still, though, KD, as upset as he was on the day of the game, he doesn't like the 2-minute report. Take a listen.
The refs didn't lose that game. If we lost that game, we could have been better. I think it's the NBA. The NBA throw the refs under the bus like that. Like, this happened to be in our favor. Not even in our favor. We don't get the win, but to say that I got fouled and the tech and all that stuff, just move on, man. You don't throw the refs under the bus like that. So, because the next game, that group of refs, or whoever it is, going to come out and they're going to ref the game. They're going to be tense when they ref in the game, and they're going to try to get every play right. They're going to try to be perfect. And, without just going out there and relaxing and making the right call.
LeBron James also expressing his displeasure with the 2-minute report, saying, I think it discredits what the referees are doing for the other 48 minutes. Kenyon, how do you feel about the 2-minute report?
I don't see the need for it, but if you're going to put a report out, why not do the whole game?
That's a lot of work.
Why not? Hey, we got people that are watching referees just watching them.
Right.
I'm saying, so why not?
What do you think, Byron?
Well, you know what? I've always felt this about the league anyway. You can go to any NBA game and you can go get your drinks and dinner and go to a movie and come back with 4 minutes left in the game, and that's when the game is going to start.
Come on, you're not one of those people.
Hey, listen, the 2-minute thing, the thing I will say about that is I disagree with KD in the sense of that the league is trying to make this league better. And they're trying to put a little bit more onus on the referees to get it right. So just like players, we hold you guys accountable when you don't do certain things. The referees are being held accountable for missing calls. So for putting them on blast, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, they're showing fans that they're holding them accountable.
Exactly.
And frankly, as someone who has covered other leagues, like, I don't know, the NFL, I can tell you that when the league pretends that everything its officials do is right, and people have eyes, and we all have replay, and we can see that it's not true, you lose confidence in the league and the officials. So at least to have someone from the league office saying, hey, we know that these human beings aren't perfect, because they're not. Right. And we know that they got this wrong, and we are trying to do this better. I think that's a good thing. I like that as a fan.
Well, with all this modern day technology, it won't be that hard to get it done, to watch.
To get it quick and to do the 48-minute report.
But the game ain't really on the line to the last 3
I
or 4
understand
minutes.
that, but why say anything?
But you know what? Like you said,
but why say anything then?
I agree with you there. But their job is to be as perfect as they can be as a referee.
Yeah.
Right.
And in order for them to be that way, sometimes you got to put them on blast.
There you go. There you go. All right, we're going to take a break, but when we get back, we will ask Kenyon if his son can beat him in one-on-one already. And wait until you see the video. This is a valid question. First, though, here's our distant replay
put a bet up on this one,
from this date in 1999, featuring our favorite distant replay guy, Vince Carter.
The Raptors run the other way.
Oh, no, you did not.
In a game.
360.
In a game.
360. In the game, one hand, then put it back up. Come on, man. Yes, Lord.
We're going to have like Vince Carter month on the jump where we just have Vince Carter replays.
I'm pretty sure you got enough to cover it.
I don't know if y'all heard about this, but George Karl has a book coming out. It's been in the news just a little bit lately. And from what we can tell, it's pretty much a front cover and a back cover with a match and a can of gasoline on the back. He takes shot after shot at all these different players that he's coached, and he's been just as inflammatory doing press for the book. Yesterday, in New York Magazine, Karl said this, quote, I was watching the Portland Trailblazers play, and I was trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with this team. My conclusion is that Damian Lillard is getting too much attention. I'm going to say Lillard is the problem. They were together, they were connected, committed as a team last year, and this year they're not. Okay, I'd just like to note here, Damian was on both this year's and last year's Trailblazers team, so I'm not sure how that even makes sense. But I don't need to argue with George over this because Terry Stotts did it instead last night, and it was amazing.
I owe a lot to George. I got my start in coaching with George. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. He's a successful coach. That being said, if he wants to diminish his chances for the Hall of Fame, if he wants to undermine his chances to being a head coach again in this league, if he wants to settle old scores with GMs or players or whoever else, that's his prerogative. But when it comes to my team and my players, he needs to stay in his own lane. He doesn't know Damian Lillard. He doesn't know how coachable he is. He doesn't know what a great teammate he is. He doesn't know how much Damian cares about winning and how important he is to his franchise. And I thought his comments, however well-intended they may have been, which I don't understand, I can't tolerate.
I mean, frankly, I feel much the same way Terry does. I don't understand what George is doing making all these comments. George is one of the winningest coaches in the history of the sport. We all really enjoyed working with him here at ESPN. He got a ton of support all around the NBA when he battled cancer twice. So why go burn all those bridges now? I like blunt talk as much as the next person, but there is a difference between telling it like it is and using coded language to reveal yourself as out of touch while you take cheap shots at people who trusted you. And make no mistake, that's what's happening here. In the excerpt from the book that got so much attention last week, Carl attacks Carmelo Anthony, Kenyon, J.R. Smith, calling them, quote, spoiled brats. He called Kenyon immature and insecure, and he wrote that, quote, Kenyon and Carmelo carried two big burdens, all that money and no father to show them how to act like a man. Now, this morning on ESPN Radio, George sort of apologized for that last part. Take a listen.
I said it poorly, and I'm sorry that I said it poorly. And I'm sorry for the reaction because I know Kenyon. The one thing I love about Kenyon Martin, he is a good father.
George also said on ESPN Radio that, quote, sometimes when you take excerpts out of the book, it becomes not exactly what I said. I don't really understand that because, well, it's your book that you wrote. George also said he wants to get back into coaching, and to that I have to say, I hope you like college basketball. Personally, I can't ever see him getting an NBA job ever again. Kenyon, I do want to start with you. You had a very angry series of tweets, and entertaining, by the way, right after the excerpts were released. You called George a coward. You called him awful. Talked about a lot of former players not liking him. You've had a week, but even more stuff has come out. How are you feeling right now? What's your reaction?
Still the same. My feelings for George Karl is that he is the person who he is, and he's showing everybody who he is. The person who I dealt with playing for 6.5 years in Denver. I saw it firsthand every day. Him coming in the locker room, not speaking to people, him talking down to other people, him treating people in the organization like crap. I'm saying I saw it year in, year out. So now the world is getting to see it. That's all it is.
How bad was it when it was bad?
It was real bad. It got heated at times. Myself, other players, but I take the full responsibility for my action and my problem that I had with George Karl. And it was basketball related and other stuff, but if it was just about basketball, it was fine. But then with these latest statements and all that, he crossed the line.
It became very personal.
Yeah, definitely, because it has nothing to do with me, the way I acted towards George, had nothing to do with the way I grew up. Nothing at all. My mother did a great job raising me. So for him to take shots at her and to say, I act like this because I didn't have a father, has no merit whatsoever.
One might even say that you were able to rise from whatever you didn't have as a kid, and it's an accomplishment that you were able to succeed the way you were.
Yeah, but in his eyes, it's not the case. He looks at it as in a negative because he's a negative person, and that's who he is. And that's what this book is about. It's all negativity that's coming out of this. Nothing good so far.
Byron, you coached Kenyon. You heard what another coach had to say about him. How did that make you feel, and what did you think?
Like you said, I know Kenyon extremely well. From a personal standpoint, from a basketball standpoint, one of the brightest players I've ever had. His basketball IQ was off the chart. And, we had a good laugh in the green room just talking about the good old times and when we were in New Jersey together. And, he talked about how hard I worked those guys. But we also talked about some of the things that went on in practice and game situations. The thing that I found about him as a rookie is that very intelligent, very mature, and understood the game of basketball better than most rookies I've ever seen. And had a will to win every single night. We already talked about it. He wasn't the greatest practice player in the world.
That was the pre-show conversation.
That wasn't something that he liked doing on an everyday but when the lights came on,
popcorn. When
the lights came on,
we're not talking
the guy
about practice,
wanted to
Coach.
compete. Yeah. But he did it.
Yes.
But he wanted to compete.
Yes.
So when I read and heard all this stuff, it was kind of like, you just shake your head because I know him from a personal standpoint over the years. 16 years I've known this young man, and I've seen him with his kids, and I've seen him on that basketball court, and I know how genuine he is about his family and about the game of basketball.
Now, he did say that he had a poor choice of words on the radio this morning. Does that count as an apology to you?
Not at all, man. He's only saying something because of the reaction that he got. If nobody would have said anything about the wording of the book or the excerpts that come out, then he would have been fine with it. He would have went on whenever the book comes out, sell his copies, get his residuals off of it, and everything would have been fine. So now he's trying to backtrack the statement saying he knows me. You don't know me. You never took the time to get to know me. You never asked me how I was doing, how my family's doing. You never asked to come meet me at dinner. So how do you know me? You only know what you think you know, and that's not a lot.
And I assume he has not called you
Not
to
at all.
apologize
Not
or
at
anything
all.
like that.
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, Byron, you're a little bit in this position because you are a coach who has seen and done a lot of things, and you are currently writing a book.
Yeah.
And you know the pressure that I assume publishers want to say, what do you got? What do you got? What do you got?
Yeah.
How does that, when watching what's going on with George Karl right now, how is that influencing you as you're writing right now?
Well, you know what? It's still that code as a player and as a coach when you're in this league. That what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's the same thing in the NBA. Things that happen in your locker room, things that happen between you and a certain player, it stays there. And I'll go to my grave with all the stuff that I've had with being a player and being a coach, because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Now, in selling books, yeah, everybody wants to hear about the negativity, the controversies, all those things sell books. And in the book that I have coming out, you might have one paragraph of something that I didn't like about a certain player. But that's it, because that's not the whole function of my book. George's book is obviously dealing with players, and like you said, if I looked at it and said, I guess he don't want to coach in the NBA ever again, because from some of the things that he said about players and general managers and things like that, and ownership and franchise, I don't see you getting another job or another opportunity. But if this is the way he feels, that's the way he feels. But in my world of the NBA, you don't burn those bridges, and you leave those things in the locker room, or you leave them on the plane, or you leave them at home, or you leave them wherever you have to leave them, but you don't bring them out.
It's just hard, too, because, look, whether you want another job or not, the NBA has given everybody involved with it so much.
Unbelievable opportunity.
Right?
That's right.
And especially a guy who, when he was sick, I feel like a lot of people in this league rallied around
And
him.
then with that said, when ESPN presented him with the award, I was the only person from the whole organization that came to Los Angeles to support him. The only person in the whole organization.
And
then who's to say what conversations he's had behind closed doors that don't come out about myself,
Right.
about Carmelo,
Right.
And maybe after I left Denver, that's why I had a hard time getting a job after that.
Right.
Lord knows who he had these conversations with.
Right. Well, look, he does say, you said, oh, gee, I read this and I wouldn't think he wanted to coach again. He said on ESPN radio this morning, every day I wake up, I want to coach again, which is amazing.
But he didn't say
in the book.
He didn't say NBA.
Well,
he just said every day I wake up, I want to coach again.
As I said, I don't think that's on the table anymore. But Kenyon, it was interesting listening to Terry Stotts because he brought up George's Hall of Fame chances.
Yeah.
You are talking about one of the top 5 winningest coaches in NBA history. It should make him a shoo-in for the Basketball Hall of Fame. But I don't know, Kenyon, do you think that the way he's been trashing people around the game in this book, and by the way, he also said in the book that he brought up those old conspiracy theories about the NBA being rigged. He really took a torch to a lot of stuff.
In my opinion, George is not a good basketball coach, in my opinion.
Really?
He has wins. He's been blessed with talent over the years, but X's and O's and all. He knows that, but you have to be a complete basketball coach. You have to coach defense, special situations, getting to know your players, treating your players right. All that, in my opinion, all that plays a factor in order to be considered a Hall of Fame player, Hall of Fame coach. Things tarnish people's legacies. Look at Pete Rose. Pete Rose legacy has been tarnished forever. He can't do anything to get in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I think things like this that come out with George shouldn't be denied.
Yeah. Well, this obviously is not the same as gambling on the
Not at
game,
all,
but I will say you're right because
tarnished him.
Hall of
Tarnished him,
Fame
no
has
matter
an
what he did.
instruction to their voters saying they should exclude anyone who has, quote, damaged the integrity of the game.
Definitely.
So we'll have to see if
Oh,
they
well.
feel like this counts.
Yeah.
We have to take a quick break here.
Oh, well.